Hi everyone, it's Miss Allen and I want to welcome you to the first story time of this year's summer reading program. So remember, our theme for summer reading this year is Tales and Tales. So we're going to have stories about animals. Each week we're going to talk about a different habitat and the animals that live in that. So before we get started, I want to remind everyone that summer reading started today. So registration for summer reading can be done on our website, or you can download the app. It's called Read Squared. You can get all this information on our summer reading page on our website. You're going to download the app if you already haven't, though you should have some kids and 1,000 books. And you're going to register your children for the summer reading program. We have a pre-readers program, which is for children ages 0 to 5. And we have a kids program for kids ages 6 to 12. There's also a teen program for those teenagers and adult summer reading program. And all you need to do is be reading. For the pre-readers, it's by minutes, by books. And for the kids, it's by minutes. So all that you read earns you points. Those points can be turned into raffle tickets for prizes. And we have pictures of all of our prizes on the website. And when you register, you can go to the raffle page on your app and find a list of prizes, and we have lots of great stuff. So let's get started with our habitat story time today. Are you ready? Two little hands go clap, clap, clap. Two little feet go tap, tap, tap. Two little fists go thump, thump, thump. And two little feet go jump, jump, jump. One little child turns round, and one little child sits quietly down. Alrighty, so we said we were going to talk about habitats. Habitats are special areas in the world where animals and people live, and when you live in those habitats or those areas, you need to find ways to adapt or work with what you have. So when you live in Montana, you adapt to the winter by buying coats and snow boots and hats. When you live in California, you adapt by wearing sandals and having air conditioning. So habitats kind of work that way for animals too. So we will talk about different habitats and the animals that live with them all summer long. A really cool thing in this video, when I finish telling stories, Miss Molly comes on and she does a craft for you, and it has to do with the animals or the habitat. We also are going to have a wonderful video every Wednesday from the zoo. So when we talk about our animals and our habitats on our story time, then the zoo's going to have a video on Wednesday about animals at the zoo that could live or do live in that habitat. So this week, our habitat is polar or tundra. So the Arctic and the Antarctic, Canada, parts of Montana are in the polar, where it's very, very cold. And so the animal stories next week, or excuse me, the animal discussion you will have with the zoo tomorrow on Wednesday, June 2nd, it airs on our YouTube channel, will be with animals that live in the tundra. So I believe they're going to talk about wolves and a Canadian lynx and a wolverine. And they'll talk about what all they do to adapt to their environment. So let's talk about the Arctic and what kind of animals live there. Are you excited? It's going to be great. I think we're going to learn a lot this summer. Okay, so our first book is called What Lives in the Arctic? And this is by Ona Gardner-Junti. Alrighty, What Lives in the Arctic? There you go. The Arctic is part of the Earth that is the farthest north. It includes the Arctic Ocean and frozen land around it. The center of the Arctic Ocean is covered with ice. See, so here's the Arctic Circle up there, really, really top. Montana's like right there, can you see? Now, this part would probably be considered tundra too, not just the Arctic Circle. The Arctic Circle is an imaginary circle around the top of the Earth. The North Pole is the center of the Arctic Circle. The land in the Arctic is called the Arctic tundra. It is frozen and treeless. Few plants, such as grass and lichen, grow in the Arctic. Atlantic puffins spend most of their time at sea. Puffins make nests on rocky cliffs in the spring. Females lay a single egg. The male and the female puffins take turns caring for the egg. They kind of look like penguins, don't they? But they are not. Ooh, there's an Arctic fox. It walks on the top of the snow. They listen for small animals that are underneath. Arctic foxes have the warmest fur of any animal. Why would they need really warm fur? Because they live where it's very cold. Snowy owls have excellent hearing and eyesight. Snowy owls can find their prey even if it's hidden under the snow. Unlike other owls, snowy owls hunt during the day. And they're nice and white, so they can hide while they're hunting in the snow. Harp seals are all white when they are born. This makes it harder for predators to see the baby seals on the ice. Their coats turn darker and develop spots when they're older. And they're really chubby, and they have some stuff called blubber that helps keep their body warm. Walruses have tusks that can grow up to 3 feet long. Walruses use their tusks to help pull themselves out of the water. They eat sea creatures like shrimp, clams, and crabs. Because remember, there's no grass and there's no trees. Oh, wow, what is that? It's a whale. Do you know what kind of whale it is? It's a beluga whale, and they travel in groups called pods. Belugas are very vocal and communicate with clicks and whistles. Oh wow, look how fuzzy and furry he is. This is a musk ox, and they roam the Arctic looking for food. They eat what little grass there is and willows. They have thick, shaggy overcoat and a softer undercoat to help keep them warm. That looks like it would be very warm, doesn't it? Ah, what is this? That's a polar bear. They're good swimmers and can see well underwater. They have an excellent sense of smell. Polar bears can smell a seal beneath the ice a mile away. That is a long way. And then just some lists of different animals that live in the Arctic, like a narwhal or a reindeer, a snow goose, a wolverine. So those are some of the animals that you might see if you lived in the Arctic. You probably, well, there are people who live in parts of the tundra where it's very, very cold. And of course they have to wear lots of clothes to keep them warm, just like the animals do. So we are going to do, our first song is called Animals in the Arctic, and it's to the tune of Wheels on the Bus. So are you ready? We're gonna waddle. Remember how you waddle? Stick your hands straight to your side. Put your hands like that, straight to your side. There you go. We're gonna waddle. Can you swim? Can you sniff? Alrighty, and can you hop? Okay, then we're going like this. The penguin on the ice goes waddle, 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 waddle. The penguin on the ice goes waddle, 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 all through the day. The polar bear in the water goes swim, 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 swim. The polar bear in the water goes swim, 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 all through the day. The fox in the Arctic goes sniff, 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 sniff. The fox in the Arctic goes sniff, 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 all through the day. The hare on the tundra goes hop, 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 hop. The hare on the tundra goes hop, 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 all through the day. Alrighty. Now we got one called Polar Opposites. Remember we talked about the Arctic, but then there's also the Antarctic, the South Pole. And so these are two kinds of animals. One lives in the North Pole and one lives in the South Pole. Eric Brooks wrote this story, Polar Opposites. What is that? A polar bear. What is that? Sure looks like a penguin to me. There you go. What are they delivering to each other? What are they getting? They're getting mail. Alex is a big bear. Let's try that again. Alex is a big polar bear. Xena is a tiny penguin. A to Z. Alex and Xena are polar opposites. They live on opposite sides of the world. He lives in the North Pole. She lives in the South Pole. Alex lives in the Arctic. Xena lives in the Antarctic. Alex is mostly white with some black, and Xena is mostly black with some white. Alex is shaggy. Xena is smooth. Polar opposites are different in so many ways. He likes to talk on his cell phone. She talks on an old phone. He likes to look up directions on the computer. She's using a map. She's reading a book. He's watching a video. He makes a mess. And she is very organized and goes to bed early. Alex gets up late. Xena rises early. Alex likes sour things. Xena likes sweet things. Alex is messy. Xena is neat. Alex is loud. Xena is quiet. Alex's favorite clothes are bright. Xena's favorites are not. Alex pushes, Xena pulls. Alex travels fast. Xena takes it slow. Where are they going? Alex and Xena are very different, but even polar opposites can always meet in the middle. Look at, they're in the middle of the world where it's nice and warm. They're at the Galapagos Islands. Look at them, they're fishing and swimming and having ice cream. They're having fun, aren't they? So two different animals that live in the Arctic in the tundra. Alrighty, so our next song is called Walking Through the Arctic, okay? And so we're gonna meet some animals and they're gonna tell us to do a couple of things. Are you ready to do it? Okay, so walking through the Arctic. Can you walk? Walking through the Arctic. And what do you think I saw? A great big polar bear. And he said, stand up. Can you shake this way? Can you shake that way? Then sit down. Alrighty, now we're walking through the Arctic. And what do you think I saw? A great big Arctic hare. And he said, jump up. Can you jump this way? Can you jump that way? Now sit down. Walking through the Arctic. And what do you think I saw? A great big walrus. Remember, he's got tusks. And he said, lay down. Now wiggle this way, wiggle that way, then sit up. Very good, we got some exercise. Excuse me. Alrighty. Our last story is called Way Up in the Arctic. I have a little note on here. And this is by Jennifer Ward, Way Up in the Arctic. So this is to the tune of Over in the Meadow with Green Grass Grows. We're gonna do Way Up in the Arctic. You see some wolves howling. Way up in the Arctic in the bright sunny sun lived a mother caribou and her little calf one. Prance, said the mother, I prance, said the one. So they pranced and they danced in the bright and sunny sun, shiny sun. A caribou, like a reindeer, like a deer. Here we go. Way up in the Arctic near the chilly waters blue lived a mother polar bear and her little cubs too. Nap, said the mother, we nap, said the two. So they napped and they dozed near the chilly waters blue. What number would come next? 3! Way up in the Arctic near an ice floe in the sea lived a pod of white belugas and their little calves 3. Sing, said the mothers. We sing, said the 3. So they sang and they chirped near their ice floe in the sea. Way up in the Arctic on a cold and icy shore lived a great herd of walruses and their chubby calves 4. Wobble, said the mothers. We wobble, said the 4. So they wobbled and they wiggled on their cold and icy shore. Very cute little chubby things. And there's those tusks. Those help them pull them into the up on the ice. There's the Arctic hares. Way up in the Arctic, where the moss and lichen thrive, lived a snowy Arctic hare and her little bunnies 5. Jump, said the mother. We jump, said the 5. So they jumped and they hopped where the moss and lichen thrive. What number are we on? Do you remember? Way up in the Arctic, where the ice and waters mix, lived a great group of furry seals and their little pups 6. Dive, said the mothers. We dive, said the 6. So they dove and they splashed where the ice and water mix. Oh, we have foxes. Those will be like the foxes you hear about in the zoo stories tomorrow. Way up in the Arctic, where the snow falls from heaven, lived a sly mother wolf and her furry pups 7. Prowl, said the mother. We prowl, said the 7. So they prowled and they howled where the snow falls from heaven. Isn't that beautiful? All right, now we're on to 8. And what do we have? We have a white owl. Way up in the Arctic, where the sun shines late, live a mother snowy owl and her little owlets 8. Hoo, said the mother. We hoot, said the 8. So they hooted and they snuggled where the sun shines late. We haven't talked about these. Are you ready to hear about these guys? These are called lemmings. Way up in the Arctic, in the snow so fine, lived a quick mother lemming and her wee lemmings 9. Dig, said the mother. We dig, said the 9. So they dug and they tunneled through the snow so fine. They have to be able to dig, right? To have a home under the snow where it's a little warmer and they can hide from the foxes. Speaking of, way up in the Arctic, in a cozy little den, lived a mother Arctic fox and her little cubs 10. Cuddle, said the mother. We cuddle, said the 10. So they cuddled and they slept in their cozy little den. That one's even smiling. And then there's some facts for us here. They talk about Arctic foxes, Arctic hares. Look at the whales. This is a fantastic book if you want to learn more about Arctic animals, talking about lemmings, polar bears, what it means to be in the tundra, which is difficult for plants to grow because it's so cold and so dark. The plants that do grow in the Arctic have to be very special and very strong. That's like why the mosses and the lichen, that's the stuff that grows around rocks. That's the stuff that grows well in the Arctic. And then there's our song. So, brand new book. I recommend you check it out if you want to learn more about the Arctic animals that we are learning about this week. Alrighty, so we're going to do both of our songs this time before our flannel board. We'll put up the words to animals in the Arctic first. Are you ready? Wheels on the bus tune. The penguin on the ice goes waddle, 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 waddle. The penguin on the ice goes waddle, 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 all through the day. The polar bear in the water goes swim, 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 swim. The polar bear in the water goes swim, 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 all through the day. The fox in the Arctic goes sniff, 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 sniff. The fox in the Arctic goes sniff, 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 all through the day. The hare on the tundra goes hop, 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 hop. The hare on the tundra goes hop, 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 all through the day. Alrighty, and then our newest one, walking through the Arctic. Alrighty, walking through the Arctic, and what do you think I saw? A great big polar bear. Can you make a polar bear? Rawr. He said, stand up and shake, shake this way and shake, shake that way, and then sit down. Walking through the Arctic, and what do you think I saw? A great big Arctic hare. Put your ears up. And he said, jump up. Then jump, jump this way, and jump, jump that way, and then sit down. Walking through the Arctic, and what do you think I saw? A great big walrus. And he said, lay down, and wiggle, wiggle this way, and wiggle, wiggle that way, and then sit up. All right, we're back, and it's time for our flannel board. Today, we're going to do a flannel board that is like brown bear, only we're going to use polar animals that we talked about in our stories today. So, of course, we need to start with a polar animal. So I thought the best polar animal to start with was a polar bear. That's right. So instead of saying brown bear, what do you see? We're going to say, grab my animals. We're going to say polar bear, what do you see? And then I'm going to show you some animals. Are you ready? Alrighty, here we go. Polar bear, what do you see? I see a, you know what that is? A snowy owl looking at me. Snowy owl, what do you see? I see a, what is that? Can you tell? A seal looking at me. Seal, what do you see? I see a, look at those tusks. We talked about those, remember? I see a walrus looking at me. Oops, I dropped the walrus. I'm sorry. There we are. Walrus, what do you see? I see a beluga whale looking at me. Put him right there. He's kissing the polar bear. Beluga whale, what do you see? I see an Arctic fox looking at me. Arctic fox, what do you see? I see a puffin looking at me. I thought I had a penguin. Let me see. Did he get stuck in the little folder? He might have. He did. There he is. Puffin, what do you see? I see a penguin looking at me. He doesn't have his backing on him, so he's not going to stay very well. There he is. So those are all kinds of Arctic animals that we talked about in our stories this week. Don't forget that next week we'll be talking about desert animals, and tomorrow or Wednesday, June 2nd on our YouTube channel, you can meet with the education corner of Zoo Montana, where they're going to talk about some polar animals that live at the zoo. Remember, if you are signed up for summer reading and you attend most of our virtual programming, you're going to get an event code that you can put in your summer reading account. That event code is going to earn you 100 points, which can be used towards a ticket for a prize. So for today's story time, the event code is, can you see that? Chilly cold. All one word, no capitalization. So if you put that in the software where the event code is chilly cold, then you can get points for it. And when you stick around for Miss Molly's craft video next, she will also have an event code for participating in the craft. So we want to thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you next week. Are you ready? On my face, I have a nose. On my feet, I have 10 toes. Have 2 eyes that I can blink. And here's my head so I can think. I have a chin and very near I have 2 ears so I can hear. To have 2 arms I reach up high, and with my hands I wave goodbye. See you next time.
Hello, welcome to Adventures in Storytime. This week's theme is polar and tundra animals, so we're making these little walruses. You need a paper plate, some popsicle sticks, construction paper circles, yarn for the whiskers, googly eyes, and a little nose. You might also need glue, maybe scissors. You'll need something to color with, or you can paint. So super easy, they turn out really cute. We'll get started. So the first thing I did was paint my paper plate. I've already done it. I wanted it to be dry so we could just get on with the craft. So you can either use crayons, markers, or paint like I did. I did both sides, and it doesn't really matter which side you use, but mine's all dry and ready to go. So the first thing, well actually, you have 2 choices. You can either put on these popsicle sticks, which will be the tusks, or you can put on these. So I think I'll start with the tusks. I am going to glue them, and I kind of found the halfway point and just kind of set them there so I know where I want to glue them, and about 1/4 of the tusk is kind of like sticking out, so like it's overlapping the bottom of the face. So you can do it that way, or place it however you want to. But I have noticed that it's a little easier to do the popsicle sticks first, because on this one I didn't, and so we're gonna try it this way this time. Okay, so there are my tusks. I'll be super careful while it's drying. All right, and the next part is putting on like his little cheeks. So I'm gonna put one over one tusk and one over the other, and then we're going to glue them down. Okay, so I have the face glued on now. I might have to do some touching up later, but that's all right. The next thing I'll do, these are the whiskers, so I'm going to kind of just lie them on top of this so I know where and how many I can use. I've started gluing these on one by one. I suppose that if you want, you could put glue on this first, maybe even before you put it on the paper plate, and then stick them on before that. But any way you want to do it is fine. You have a goal, like where we want to do a walrus, but it doesn't really matter how we get there. Okay, so I have my whiskers glued on. I'm not going to touch them for a minute so they can dry. Now I'm going to put on my eyes. We have these little googly eyes that you can use. Okay, our last step is the nose. So that's what it'll look like when you're all finished. So I'm gonna let him dry. Before we leave, I will give you the summer reading event code. So for the Adventures in Storytime craft, the code is Tusk Time, TUSKTIME, all one word, all lowercase, Tusk Time. All right. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.